This is making sourdough bread. We've been doing this for the last, I guess, 3 years, and this particular mother is over 2 years old. I'm not going to go through the story of how to make a mother, but it's pretty straightforward. It's essentially flour and water left somewhere warm for about 5 days. No need for all the stuff with yogurt and rhubarb. It just does it on itself and will eventually become a culture. So 750 ml of mixed flour, wholemeal and white, and 1 teaspoon about that size of salt. And I normally do a glug of this, but to be more accurate, this is 200 ml of the mother mixture. And then you need about 400 ml of cold water. I say about, it really depends on, you know, if I do this whole thing by eye and roughly, and it always works out about right, so it doesn't really matter that much, but about 400 ml. And then you stir it around. Yeah, let's speed it up because this bit takes a little while. The thing is, you can't be absolutely prescriptive about the amount of water you need because it depends how wet the mother is in the first place, and also it depends on the proportion of wholemeal flour you're using, because wholemeal flour tends to soak up more water. Okay, so now it's turning into a decent dough. So that's about ready to come out of the bowl. And then you don't need to flour the surface of the worktop because it doesn't really stick that badly. What you could do is something called working the dough, which is where you keep spinning it over like that. This is before you knead it. Kind of wrap it back on itself. And then I learnt this from a book called Dough by Richard Burtonnet, and he makes the point that if you work it like this, you don't actually need to do conventional kneading. This is the way to make it really light and airy. But I do a bit of a cop out, I do some of this, and then I finish it off with some kneading. Right, so now you can knead it for a bit. I don't normally knead it for more than, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. Just a simple turn and fold it, turn and fold over. Sometimes I'm lazy and hardly bother to knead at all, but you definitely get better results if you can put a few minutes into it. And then you want to oil the bowl so it doesn't stick. Put your dough in there. Give it a cross so it can expand easily, and put a bit of cling film over the top. And you can leave that overnight if your kitchen's not too warm. It doesn't need to go anywhere warm. By the way, the water I put in it was cold water, and then we'll come back to that when we're ready to knock it back. One other thing, because you've taken sourdough out of your mother, you have to feed your mother again with like half a mug of flour and a bit of water. Okay, so it's the next morning and the hands have changed. They've become female and nicer because this is Sarah, and she's flouring what's called the banneton, which is a proving basket. Sometimes these are made of cane. This one's made out of a kind of, I don't know, it's like almost like a papier-mâché material. Anyway, the dough has risen a lot, as you can see. It's still got a bit of life in it. Sometimes you don't want to let it over rise because sometimes it can run a puff and then doesn't do its second rise properly. But this looks okay. And here she's doing a kind of 3-fold method, which she learnt, I think, from Paul Hollywood in some program of his. But yeah, you can see the dough's got quite a bit of spring in it still. It's looking good. And in it goes, and sometimes if it's too wet it does stick, I must admit, to the banneton when you turn it out, so you do need to watch that, but it's all learning. You can't get it right every time, and it's the thing about bread making, you can't be completely scientific about it because there's so many variables. Okay, so cover it up, a tea towel is fine, and Right, so last lap. Onto a floured baking tray, turn it up very gently and don't knock it. Slide it into your oven and then right, time goes by, moment of truth, out it comes, it's looking good. Onto a wire tray to cool down, and let's see what the crumb structure looks like. I'm hoping it's going to be nice and airy.